What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
Today, we're going to be giving you 7 super simple tips to get back into a routine. With Labor Day coming up, getting back into our ebbs and flows. We spoke about this Monday. We thought this episode would fit perfectly because it's so easy to get out of sync of our good habits and perhaps to fall into some bad ones. And these 7 tips are going to help you break through those and go to the right direction. So let's waste none of your time and let's jump right into my first tip. And my first tip, quite simply, is start really small. And I'm sure you've heard the example of how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time, and really getting into great habits and systems really does start with just doing one tiny thing. And there's a quote we love from Leo Babauta. I probably butchered that, but that's neither here nor there. But it is make it so easy you can't say no. An example is if I said, hey, Kyle, you want to run a marathon in 3 months? He'd say, not a chance. Whereas if I said, yo, Kyle, I challenge you to go on a 2-minute walk today, you'd be like, okay, sure. And then you can evolve from there. This is a ridiculous example, but even for us, like if your goal truly was to run a marathon, it would start with you putting on your shoes. If you just put on your gym shoes and said, I'm going to go outside with my shoes on, you might say, okay, I'll go on a quick walk or I'll do a tiny run or whatever it may be. But as silly as that is, that can evolve into you eventually getting towards a marathon. Same with you with lifting. If you just say, I'm just going to start by signing up for a gym. Now, a lot of people do this and then never go to the gym, but I think even to say, I'm going to go to the gym for 30 minutes. And if you force yourself to be there, even if you're inside there and you're just on the treadmill or you're just standing somewhere, it's going to be weird. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to start lifting. I'm going to start growing. And then you can start to build and grow off of that. And the best way to break down these really big, terrifying things is to start small. And maybe before the summer, you were in a great habit. You were always going to the gym. Your cardio was on point. You were eating great. Your protein was there. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to start eating healthier. I got to cut out the junk. I need to drink less. I need to get to bed on time. I need to work out harder. I need to get stronger. I need to better. And it's like so daunting. But if you just say, hey, I'm going to get back to the gym this week. Then when you're in the gym, you're feeling yourself. You're feeling good. Whenever clients are in the gym, they're like, I'm way more motivated to eat better when I'm working out because you're already doing that positive action. Then from there, you're like, oh, I don't want to be tired for my session tomorrow. So you get to bed on time. And you can see how all these things really come together from just doing something so small and really breaking it down. So this is a big one. Don't expect yourself to get fully back into these crazy rhythms. Start small and let yourself build from there.
Honestly, I know this is one of the biggest things people struggle with is just that, like, when they first get started, whether it's they're getting back into it or they're just completely new. I hear a lot of people with great ambition. They set some amazing goals. They're in a very comfy space. Their feet are up. You know, it's nice and warm inside. So they're setting all these goals and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week, 2 hours at least, like each workout. It's like, okay, well, probably not that realistic, right? And it's easy to think a lot of these things when you're in that space, but like actually doing it, it's overwhelming, right? So I love the goal or the message of just starting small because it allows you to build that momentum. And from there, when you get the momentum, things just fall into place. And yeah, that was very well said. And number 2 is a little bit different, but kind of similar. It's just simply taking the habit that you have and just increasing it in very small ways. So this is, once again, once you get started and once you do that thing that Josh said, simply put, improving in small increments just allows you to really feel like you're not making any changes while you actually are making some changes. So kind of using that example, right? Instead of, once you get adapted, once you get the routine down, once you get the schedule down, instead of just doing these massive jumps into running, going to run 20K runs, like, and you're just getting started, like that's going to be challenging, but you get into the 5K runs, like we're using running as an example, but this could simply be your nutrition protocols, right? If you start tracking food and you're in a bit of a deficit, it could just be being in a slightly smaller, bigger deficit, like kind of making a small change. And this is where I think a lot of people, the coaching side of things is huge because I try to make as many changes as I can where it doesn't really feel like it's like anything drastic. Like if you have something and you're getting used to it and you got started and you put your shoes on and you just started tracking food, but then like as you get into it, then it's just this insane amount of change. And it's just like, all right, we're going to go from 3 workouts. Now we're going to jump you right up to 7, or your cardio protocol is like, okay, I'm going to go for a couple short walks, and then boom, Josh is telling you go for a marathon and do all this like 7 times a week, 2 hours a day. Like it's not going to work. And I think once again, having ambition is great. It's awesome to have great goals and to, just really want to do amazing things. But ultimately, that's what leads to a lot of people seeing a bit of success and then just at some point being like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. So simply put, I love the quote here from Jim Rohn: success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, while failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. And I have a note here saying 1% improvements add up surprisingly fast, and so does 1% decline. So just something to think about.
My next tip, very similar to the first, but slightly different, is really understanding and breaking things down into chunks. So if you look at your big goals, it's like, how can I really isolate what I need to do? And the way I like to look at this personally is like, what do I need to do this morning to start the day off right? And that's me getting up on time. That's me eating a good breakfast. And you can see how that will push forward. And it's really easy to be stressed about, oh, I need to go to the gym later. I need to do this. I need to do my run at night. And it's like, what's right in front of me? And whatever's right in front of you, take charge of that. When you break these things down, instead of looking at it as a whole and being overwhelmed, similar to what I said at the start, and you just say, what's in front of me? What do I need to take action of? Remove that flinch and just get after it. And when you have big goals, if you're like, I want to be someone who meditates 20 minutes a day, you could break that down and you could do 2 10-minute sessions in the day and start with smaller, more obtainable bites. And same with the running example we've been on it. You could go on a morning walk and a morning night and get really comfortable just banging some kilometers, and you could start to extend those durations. And the same with the gym. I'm not necessarily a big fan of breaking the gym into like 2 30-minute sessions. I find both will be really spread thin. You'll feel like you're constantly commuting to the gym and getting in and out of gym clothes and showering and different things like that. But the more you can look at like what's a healthier, more easy way to kind of get there and just break it down into smaller, more bite-sized pieces, to that elephant example, the more of an advantage it will be for you.
I love it. Very well said. And yeah, this is what we realize. A lot of people, we've had a lot of messages of people just wanting to get back into it. They're kind of getting into more of a comfortable rhythm and routine. And they're just like, where do I start? And there's a lot of questions with this. So that's why we wanted to create this episode. We felt like it was very, very applicable as people are starting to shut down their cottages, unfortunately. And, just different things going on as the season is beginning to change. But number 4, simply put, I do believe, and there's never an episode where I won't include this, but it's accountability. And the reason is because I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, every single person needs some sort of accountability. You need people by your side. You need your family to understand what you're striving for. You need them to understand and respect it as well. Because if you're just constantly battling, like trying to get up in the morning, go for that workout, and those around you are criticizing or they just don't understand, like it's going to make it so much harder to get into that routine and build that habit if you're constantly fighting and constantly pushing those things around you. And what's amazing is right now, like I said, we're getting a lot of messages, a lot of people struggling. And we sat down, first of all, and thought, what episode do we need to create? But also, what do we need to create to help more of you people to just feel your best, to fall back into fitness, right? To get back into the routine. And that's why, as you heard us talk about on Monday, or maybe you didn't, but we wanted to share with you, we have some amazing prizes. We're only taking on a select amount of people. However, if you are listening to this and you want to take this thing to the next level, you want to just get guaranteed results, get prizes up to $1,000 worth and so much more, I promise you, you will not regret it. I am very confident to be able to guarantee your results, and that's how confident I am in my ability to be able to help you as well as my team. And all you have to do is send us a message with the keyword challenge to Instagram, which is Colossusfit, COLOSSUSFIT. There's going to be daily criteria, weekly criteria, prizes, and of course, guaranteed results to just help you build back momentum, get the results you're striving for, and just build an amazing body that you are super happy with and proud of. So I promise you, having accountability, having a game plan, all these tips are great. Starting small, breaking things up, like they are fantastic and they work, but nothing works better than having someone by your side and just a game plan with someone that you know knows what they're doing. So you start to get those results and you start to build momentum. So you're like, okay, cool. Like I can trust this process. Like I know that it's working, and you start to see those results. So that's tip number 4.
Yeah. Studies have constantly proven those who announce their goals, the more people you tell you're going to do something. So if you tell your whole family, all your friends, I'm going to get in shape, you are way more likely to do it. Whereas if you profess it to yourself, no one knows if you fail. You don't care if you fail. And that's where having a coach is the best. This is someone you've hired to be on your side, who has the expertise and the ability to do all these things for you. You've made that commitment to yourself, both physically and financially to ensure your progress. And having someone to force you into these habits, to think bigger, to support you through your weakest moments is really the key to success. It's a no-brainer, and that's why our transformations are fully guaranteed. This challenge is a really fun way to go about it. Challenge just makes it way more exciting. Obviously, as we go into fall, this is how you build an incredible physique into the new year. You get ahead. You're not someone who makes excuses. So don't miss out on this. Definitely shoot us that message or check out that link. But now we're going to talk about triggers, which I love. So it's how can you pair a new habit with an existing event. And this is a big one. This is from Atomic Habits. A good example, if you want to drink more water, you have more glass of water every time you sit down to have a meal. I love this one because having that water before the meal also will help you not mistake hunger for thirst, and it's actually going to help fill you up a little bit. You're going to make a point to actually hydrate yourself, and it's a really easy way to do this. Or as soon as you hit your alarm clock, you have water beside your bed and you drink that water. This is another good example. These are very simple ways to really be aware of it. I know for posture, a lot of people will put little stickies in all the doors of their house and the archways there, if you will. And every time you see that sticky, you think, oh, I got to fix my posture. I got to stand up straighter. I need to not be on my phone. Whatever it is, these random cues can be really beneficial. So even a concept of whenever I go to eat my food, before I eat it, I put everything in MyFitnessPal. Like the more you can associate these habits, the better off you'll be, because doing that consistently allows you to be hyper aware of your calories. You're not going to be overeating ever because you're going to know exactly how many calories you have, and it's going to make losing weight just ridiculously easy. You're going to build these habits and they're going to become so second nature. Yes, at first it might be a little tedious, it might be annoying, but all in all, it's going to make your journey so much better and so much easier.
This is like a bonus tip that I just got thinking about, is just like being aware of like what habits you actually have. We don't have it written down here, but I think that's one of the greatest things, because most people do things subconsciously. So you just naturally, I think it's like over 80% of the things we do is just based. Even Josh, we were playing volleyball and he told me to hit at a certain spot. He said middle. After I was like, what do you mean by that? I exactly did that. I hit it right down the middle, and it was like a subconscious thing, but like it just, you do things without realizing is basically what I'm trying to get at, like from different cues, from different points in your life, and just like different, habits that you've created. So I thought it was very interesting that like most people don't realize, like, let's say you happen to check your phone first thing in the morning. That's like your habit. That's the thing you get used to. You may not realize, I'm sure some of you do realize, but from there, the question is, how can I sit down and figure out what a new habit's going to be here and how I can change that? And we can talk about the cue, the reward. We can save this for a future episode. Don't want to overwhelm you with like overall habit creation, but just more so like simple tips to get you on track. But one of the biggest things is just reflecting, seeing what it is that you do. And then just like, that might be your challenge for the week, is like simply put, not checking for the first 30 minutes. From there, I'd make sure to leave it in a different room. I'd put it on airplane mode. Like I would spend a lot of time making those adjustments. And kind of, that would be my challenge for the week if I were to use this as a simple example. But number 6, I'm going to jump into is just, when you slip up, get back on track quickly. And I love the quote. This is from Kelly McGonigal. The best way to improve your self-control is to see how and why you lose control. So that's kind of what I was just saying there, is like being able to pay attention and reflect and see like what exactly is going on. And I love here, I'm going to read something else that I came across, is you shouldn't expect to fail, but you should plan for failure. Take some time to consider what will prevent your habit from happening. What are some things that are likely to get in your way? What are some daily emergencies that are likely to pull you off course? How can you plan to work around these issues, or at least how can you bounce back quickly from them and get back on track? So I thought this was very well said. I think it's great. All these tips are fantastic. You apply, you use triggers, you break things up. But like, if you're not aware and not able to pay attention to these things, it makes it very challenging. And the last thing I'll say is just never miss twice. When you slip up, you're human. We all mess up. We all have mistakes. Like, it's just important to get right back to it and we'll be good to go. And then from there, it doesn't allow that habit to compound, because habits can compound either negatively or positively. And it's important to remember that.
And then ultimately, the last tip is to be consistent and stick to habits you can sustain. Build them up progressively, but intelligently. Don't just go from 0 to 100. Really just consistently work to challenge that. Understand you won't be perfect, but be consistent. Utilize what Kyle said, never miss twice, adjust as necessary. But the big thing is just staying consistent with them, because as we've said, bad habits can stick and really just build upon each other and become more and more negative. But positive habits can really just evolve to become better and better as well. And that is a big part of what our challenge is centered around, is really just helping you build better habits so you can see more sustainable progress with your health, your fitness, and your happiness. So once again, if you want your nutrition taken care of, we're going to make you a consistent program for you and the foods you have available with your restrictions and what you have available. We're going to teach you how to eat for life so you can lose more fat and build more muscle. I'm going to make a routine with whatever equipment you have available, no equipment, tons of equipment, special gyms, whatever, your history, entirely made, bespoke, done for you. And of course, we're going to help you with your goal setting, accountability, and we're going to make sure you see it through, fully guaranteed. So don't miss out on this. This is starting the week after Labor Day. So that will actually be specifically September 9th. And right now we got a great deal by jumping in early. We're going to work with you one-on-one through this challenge and after. So definitely be sure to message us challenge on Instagram to @Colossusfit, COLOSSUSFIT. But thank you so much for tuning in today. Now you know what you need to do to get into your habits again. Go out there and crush it.